Just had a chance to watch the president's announcement on autism.
Taking Tylenol is not good. There are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? This is a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group, because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it.
Lots of falsehoods there, but a few things to keep in mind. Number one, the president wrongly says that if a child doesn't take pills, they don't take vaccines, that the risk of autism is zero. That is not true. We know that family risk factors, family genetics, environmental risk factors like air pollution, maternal age at first birth are big drivers of the increased incidence of autism. What isn't a risk factor for the development of autism is the use of Tylenol during pregnancy for pregnancy-related pain. He shouldn't be putting that message out there because some women need to manage pregnancy-related pain, and there aren't a lot of options out there to do so. Tylenol still proves to be safe and effective based on the best quality research. Number two, he says regarding Tylenol,
with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it.
Again, what is he talking about? Sometimes you need to take a medication to relieve your pain, and Tylenol remains amongst the very few options, medication-wise, to treat pregnancy-related pain without harming baby. So again, best quality research he is ignoring. His team is cherry-picking data. They're choosing to only look at the data that they want to look at, which is correlative data, nothing that actually proves out causation. They even admitted it.
There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you clear up this confusion?
That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups, and you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all.
And there's a reason why the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists continue to recommend Tylenol for pregnancy-related pain, lowest effective dose if needed. If you have any questions, talk to your medical provider.
Hi, my name is Lex. I'm a nurse. I want to provide a little bit of light as to what is about to go down today regarding Tylenol and autism. Today, RFK Jr. and Trump are set to announce that Tylenol causes autism. There is no science that actually proves this. That should shock nobody. They are also likely going to tell you that leucovorin, folinic acid, is the cure. Now, what you need to pay attention to is the fact that iHerb, a company owned by Dr. Oz, sells leucovorin. Okay? Dr. Oz is also now the head of the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, the CMS. Do you smell the corruption? This is the ivermectin gate all over again. Leucovorin is folinic acid. It's a form of folate. That's why the words are similar. And unlike folate, folinic acid has a really easy time crossing the blood-brain barrier, meaning going from the bloodstream and into the brain. Now, is there science linking leucovorin and autism? Kind of. Generally speaking, people will cite one of 4 randomized control trials, all of which had varying levels of effectiveness. They had different outcomes, and they had completely different ways of measuring those outcomes. In one case, efficacy was completely reliant on one specific genetic variant in the participant. Needless to say, the science is inconclusive and way more studies need to be done. And it is definitely not definitive enough for the president to be peddling his buddy's supplement company, because that's what's happening. I just thought you guys deserved to have a better understanding of this whole situation as a medical professional and as someone who knows how to read and say big words like acetaminophen. Our country deserves better, smarter, more equipped people in leadership.
We either have a constitution or we don't, as my friend John Boniface says. We either have an impeachment clause or we don't. If we are not using the constitutional remedy for a tyrant in this moment, we are losing our Constitution right before our eyes. Right. I know that there is leadership in that building on the Democratic side that does not want to hear about impeachment. Don't touch the conversation about impeachment till the midterms. Oh, no. We're going to threaten some of our more vulnerable members. I have a wake-up call for them. There is nothing that makes them more vulnerable than standing down in this moment. This country is looking for leadership. This country is looking for action. This country is not waiting for midterms that may not even happen to deal with this authoritarian president. I told you about that international perspective. I'm just going to share this long, nice note from one of my viewers on Lights On. Throughout these years, I always looked up to the United States as the symbol of freedom, democracy, and justice. Eventually, I made my way to what was once the great America, a nation I believe represented the highest ideals of human dignity and liberty. But today, what I see pains me deeply, perhaps even more than it pains many Americans. The America I admired has been disfigured before my eyes. To witness Americans endure this abuse so passively, almost mildly, is heartbreaking. Our democracy, the very foundation of America's greatness, is under grave threat. As long as a disgraced, criminally convicted figure remains in power, the nation cannot claim to be a true democracy. Instead, it resembles a collapsing state. Wake up, folks. This is what we're living through in 2025 in America right now. A collapsing state. One where the rule of law has been abandoned in favor of cultish loyalty and demagoguery. America tragically now mirrors the dysfunction of a third world country, not in wealth or technology, but in democratic credibility. If America is to reclaim its place as a beacon of hope for the world, it must awaken from this dangerous slumber. Silence in the face of tyranny is complicity, and the time to resist is now!
Number 1, unconstitutionally usurping Congress's power to declare war. Number 2, unlawful mobilization of military forces against civilian protesters in the United States. Number 3, illegal kidnapping, detention, and removal of U.S. residents. Number 4, illegal and unconstitutional removal of U.S. residents, migrants, and asylum seekers to foreign torture prisons. Number 5, unlawfully attempting to deport immigrants for peacefully protesting. Number 6, unconstitutionally usurping Congress's powers. Number 7, defying court orders and unconstitutionally usurping judicial authority. Number 8, abusing his power to seek retribution against perceived adversaries. Number 9, co-opting and dismantling independent government oversight. Number 10, unlawful imposition of tariffs. Number 11, receiving foreign and domestic emoluments. Number 12, unconstitutionally usurping local and state authority. Number 13, abusing the emergency power. Number 14, abusing the pardon power. Number 15, corruptly dismissing criminal charges against Eric Adams. Number 16, depriving citizens of their birthright. Number 17, blocking efforts to secure U.S. elections. Number 18, planning the forced removal of Palestinians from Gaza. Number 19, engaging in unlawful, corrupt practices during the 2024 presidential campaign. These are the assaults on our Constitution and democracy that we are facing. There is no question that Donald Trump has violated his oath of office and is undermining democracy. We have to act now.
We are going to be introducing, in both the Senate and the House, the No Political Enemies Act. This is legislation that makes sure that the law is on the side of free speech and the right to dissent. Now, I wish this legislation weren't necessary, but it is now. Donald Trump, right now, is instructing his Department of Justice to go on the hunt for his political enemies. Attorney General Bondi has made it clear she is going to arrest people just for speech that she doesn't or the president doesn't agree with. That is bone-chilling. So we need to build new protections in court when a political opponent of the president is targeted by Trump's DOJ or his regulatory regime, simply for political speech. And so the No Political Enemies Act creates a specific defense for those that are being targeted for political reasons. It builds real consequences for government officials when they use the power of the government to target speech that is protected by the First Amendment. And it gives an ability to recover attorney's fees when someone is the subject of government harassment. This is a decision moment for the country. Conservatives who say that they support democracy and free speech need to speak up right now. Our Republican colleagues need to put the health of our democracy before loyalty to their leader. And this legislation, supported by a wide cross-section of free speech advocates and groups all across the country, is a tool for us to rally around.
Democrats in Texas might have a secret weapon you might not know about. After the Republicans gerrymandered the state in their favor, one star musician is jumping into politics, and some people believe he has a good chance at flipping a red seat blue.
I want to be a voice for my people. And I do believe in fighting for the little guy, because that's what we are. That's what we've always been.
Bobby Pulido, the Tejano music star with millions of listeners worldwide, is now on a different kind of tour. The Latin Grammy Award winner announced this week that he's running for Congress, attempting to flip Texas's 15th district seat from red to blue. And it's a good thing he's used to the spotlight, because this race thrusts him directly into the center of the ongoing redistricting war between the two parties. The seat, currently held by Representative Monica de la Cruz, is seen as Democrats' best chance to flip a seat in Texas. Representative de la Cruz was first elected to represent the Texas 15th after the district was gerrymandered in 2021. And after Texas Republicans redrew their congressional district map again this summer, trying to re-engineer more red districts, this time at the direction of President Donald Trump, it ironically made the 15th district even more competitive. Pulido's race is extremely crucial for Democrats, hoping to take back the House and gain the ability to place checks on President Trump's post-midterm agenda.
The reason the midterms are so important is because the only thing that we have to do, the only recourse we have, is to flip the House. The House puts the brakes on him. It does. Right? And there's really not much else we can do.
It's no secret that midterm elections are often seen as referendums on the current administration. If people don't like what's going on in the White House, the whole party could struggle. And with the Trump administration seeing their approval rating slipping, they've tried to redistrict their way into maintaining power, not just in Texas, but in other states as well. If Pulido goes on to win his election in 2026, it may signal that the GOP's gerrymandering strategy in Texas blew up in their faces. So you're in for the win.
That's the goal. Yeah, because it's not a vanity project. It's not. It's a real thing. And I take it seriously. You can gerrymander the district, but you can't gerrymander Tejano culture.
Pulido is going to have to first win his Democratic primary before taking on Representative de la Cruz in the general election next year, and has been working hard to earn people's votes. De la Cruz fired back after learning about Pulido's run, saying she is focusing on serving the district.
How do you respond to critics who might say, Bobby Pulido's a singer?
Yeah.
He doesn't have the credentials to serve in Congress. What would you tell him?
I don't disagree with him. If they were to say that, I don't blame them for saying that. That's why you campaign. And that's why you talk about issues, to let them know that you actually are smart, that you actually know about what you're talking about. And I think I do provide a very unique perspective because I'm not into that. And I don't have to do it. But it is service. It truly is. You know, it's a big pay cut.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, if you happen to win, you know, but I just feel like it's worth it.
In the new CBS News YouGov poll that's just come out, Trump is underwater overall in terms of his approval rating by 16 points. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump is handling his job as president? Disapprove by 16 points. Well, okay, but do you feel strongly about it? Turns out yes. The number of Americans who say they strongly approve of Trump is 24%. The number of Americans who say they strongly disapprove of Trump is 47%. That's almost double. So if you live somewhere with a lot of MAGA supporters and you're always hearing people say how much they love, love, love Trump, and they've got Trump flags up and Trump bumper stickers and blah, 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 you should know that the people who feel very strongly against Trump outnumber Trump fans in this country by almost exactly a 2-to-1 margin. They take up a lot of space, but they are not even a quarter of the population. They are 2-to-1 outnumbered by people who strongly disapprove of Trump. And it's not just him personally, he is underwater on every issue, including the one he wants to be his best issue. Do you approve of Trump's handling of immigration? No. By a 12-point margin. Do you approve of Trump's handling of Iran? No. By a 12-point margin. Do you approve of Trump's handling of the Israel-Hamas conflict? No. By a 14-point margin. Do you want the U.S. government to put tariffs on other countries? No. By a 20-point margin. Do you approve of Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill? No. By a 22-point margin. Do you think the Big Beautiful Bill will help you or hurt you and your family? Hurt by a 2-to-1 margin. Well, what do you think about Trump's handling of the Epstein matter? Well, by a 50-point margin, Americans say they are dissatisfied with Trump's handling of this matter. The number of Americans who say they are somewhat or very dissatisfied by Trump's handling of the Epstein matter is 75%. The number of Americans who say they are somewhat or very satisfied is only 25%. That is a 50-point gap. Should the U.S. Department of Justice release all the information it has regarding the Jeffrey Epstein case? Yes. Yes. Yes, by a 78-point margin. Nearly 90% of Americans say the government should do that. To which Trump says, everybody please stop talking about this.
Holy shit, Gavin Newsom is doing it. He just announced a November 4th special election to redraw all of the congressional districts in California. Now, unlike in Texas, this will be put to a popular vote, so every California voter will have the right to weigh in on it. Now, Newsom could potentially redistrict California to get 9 seats back for the Democrats, but he's only drawing it to get 5, because that's how many Republicans are trying to get in Texas. It's critical to note that if this passes, it's only going to last 5 years. That's because Newsom actually does believe in the redistricting process they have today. But if Texas is going to fuck everything up, then California is going to unfuck everything up. Down. Now, before Republicans complain this isn't fair to Republicans in California, let me tell you about fairness. Right now, each of the 2 Democratic senators in California represent 19 million citizens. Meanwhile, the 2 Republican senators in Wyoming represent 289,000 citizens. That means a Republican voter's influence in Wyoming is 68 times more impactful in the Senate than a Democrat's in California. In the Electoral College, each of Wyoming's 3 electoral votes represent 193,000 people. Each of California's electoral votes represent 731,000 people. And even over in the House of Representatives, which is supposed to represent everyone equally, because the total number of seats are capped and new seats are reassigned based on the pace of growth and not the actual growth itself, Republicans in Wyoming are once again represented 1.4 times better than Democrats in California. The brutal fact is that because of the Senate and the Electoral College, you are better represented as a Republican in a small town in a red state than a Democrat living anywhere. And this move by Gavin Newsom will set us up to rectify just a tiny bit of that for just 5.
Donald Trump said he's making Antifa a terrorist organization. First of all, I'm Antifa.
Straight up. Field commander, baby.
Are you guys Antifa?
Hell yeah!
Because if you're looking for Antifa, I'm here.
That's it. That's it.
But this idea that it's an organized organization that's conducting terrorist activities, this is as made up as Donald Trump's business successes. I say all that to say this. The Constitution is under attack. The Constitution is no longer a document anyone is paying attention to. The Constitution is no longer what's controlling the narrative. It's solely Donald Trump. The Supreme Court has given him carte blanche, and that is shameful in and of itself. The Republican Congress do not have a backbone. And by the way, shame on the Senate Democrats.
That's right. Resist or resign.
Shame on Senate Democrats. The Constitution's not running things anymore. Donald Trump is. So whenever I was told about this event of marching down from Philadelphia to deliver a copy of the Constitution to Congress, I said, count me in. Right now, a group of veterans, we are over at Union Station doing a 24/7 protest against the National Guard presence there because our message to the Guard is, remember your oath. As General Milley said, we don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a flag. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen. We don't take an oath to a dictator, and we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
Straight up.
We take an oath to the Constitution. That is what I did when I joined the military. That's what all these other veterans did when they joined the military. And that's what the National Guard did when they raised their right hand. And I said then, when I raised my right hand, that I will defend the Constitution. And because I'm old and fat, I can't raise my right hand anymore and join the military, but I sure can raise hell.
Damn right.
What you are watching behind me is one of the most disgusting acts by ICE I have ever seen. Trump's ICE held a 5-year-old girl outside of her home and threatened to continue doing so unless her father came out to show them his ID. The father, who is from Guatemala and has been in this country for 22 years, is actually here legally as he's awaiting an actual asylum claim. Eventually, the family called the Leominster police outside of Boston, who came and the ICE agents left. But 2 days later, as Edward Hipp returned home on his wife's birthday, ICE agents came again, detained him, and sent him to an ICE facility. This isn't the America we all should want to live in. This is the America where we're all looking over our shoulders, wondering what's going to happen next.
Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups, the Amish as an example, they have essentially no autism.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time, oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. The time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for, Trucker John. Alrighty, testing 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. Testing, testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see which microphone is working today. Which one is on? Testing, testing. I think this one is on. Testing, testing 1, 2, 3. I think it's this one. Let's see which microphone is working today. Which one is on? Testing, testing. Alrighty. All right, guys. Good morning. 9:36 a.m. Pacific time zone. It is 81 degrees here in beautiful Las Vegas. Expected high of 95 degrees. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for waiting. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. I can say it. I can say acetaminophen. Yay! I'm not as stupid as Donald Trump. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Yeah. acetaminophen. I hope Tylenol sues the holy ever-loving fuck out of Donald Trump. Did you see how many times he said, don't take Tylenol, just don't take it. Don't take Tylenol. I hope fucking Tylenol sues him for at least $1 billion for every time he said Tylenol or don't take Tylenol. In yesterday's, I don't know, was it a press conference or whatever the fuck it was? He must have said it 25 times, if not more. I'm saying $1 billion for every time they should sue his motherfucking ass for. With that, a good morning to you. I see Paul Burrows was first in the chat, and followed by Carrie C. Always good to see Carrie C. It's always good. It's good. Paul Burrows is driving to St. Mary's, Idaho when the show starts. Peace. Peace. Sandy Foltz is here. Hey, Sandy, good to see you. Lynn's here. T. Freeman is also here. Alvin Stube, good to see you. Sandy Foltz says the Buffalo Sabres hockey starts their games tonight. Sandy's into all things Buffalo. Nick Rich, like number 12. Look at here, we got 44 watching. We're at a slight deficit with 44 thumbs ups. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. We do not want to be acting like Republicans and operating in a deficit. So let's get us to at least a balanced budget. Speaking of which, have you seen little Mikey Johnson basically shutting everything down at the behest of Donald Trump? So that they don't even want to try to keep the government open. If any of your friends talk about this, make sure they know this is the Republicans. This is a Republican fucking thing. It's a Republican-controlled Congress. If the government shuts down, it's on them. It's on the fucking Republicans. Doug G. Slow Toaster. Don't know what that's about. Nick Rich refill of a stoop. Dr. Trump is an idiot. That was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And the thing about it is there's about, I guess probably, if you go by the polling there that Rachel Maddow was going over, apparently there's at least 25% of Americans that are just swallowing whole everything he says. Mr. Spock is here. Hey, Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. I can't say the same for your chickens, but Mr. Spock says my chickens are getting upset. Where's TJ? Well, hey, look. It gives you guys time to come in and settle, Gives me time to eat a donut or two. Gino Maynard is here. Hey, Gino, good to see you. David Weiss from Denver is here. Hey, Jolie. Jolie's here. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Uh-oh, Jolie has got a massive hangover. Went out and partied one last time before having to head home. So, yeah, good luck with the hangover. Nick Rich says the 47th administration is so incompetent that children have more qualifications to lead than they do. For fuck's sake. Speaking of children, this is my son's 28th birthday today. So happy birthday to my son. Mr. Spock says, don't take Tylenol, Julie. Yeah, so AM is here. Michelle is here. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for coming on in to the driver's lounge.
John Glad's here. I'm always glad to see John Glad. John Glad says, just saying 9 million die from starvation every year. And yet we want to spend the whole day, trying to blame autism on Tylenol. And when we know that autism has been around a lot longer than Tylenol has been around. Nick Rich, Epstein Gate is Donnie's fate. Knock, knock. Have you guys heard the latest knock, knock joke? Knock, knock. Who's there? Epstein Files. Epstein Files who? Epstein Files release. Okay, I just was doing that on the fly. I have to work that out. I guess I should have said, knock, knock. Who's there? Release. Release who? Release the Epstein Files. There. That's how it should have went. I did it kind of backwards, I think. William is saying hello. Hello, William. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Gino Maynard's here. Let's see. Who else is here? John Glad says, who is this? It's talking about someone in the intro. So I don't know which person you were referring to or asking about. Stephanie B2 says, oops, I'm dyslexic today. Oops, I'm dyslexic today. AM says, it's ironic how the great orange one accused Biden of running a third world country. Why isn't he impeached yet? We are about to lose our right to vote in the upcoming midterms. I'm all for impeachment. Absolutely, 100%. But we have a Republican Congress, a Republican House of Representatives where the Speaker of the House won't even open the doors. The coffee is still very, 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 very hot. I did some shopping yesterday, so I got some coffee. Karen Ames is here. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Appreciate you being here, guys. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share. We are like the good Democrats that we are. We're a slight surplus. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to say. Marsha Jones is here. Hey, Marsha, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Karen Ames is making another pot of coffee. AM says Epstein's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. Hey, did you guys hear this knock knock joke? It goes a little something like this. Knock knock. Who's there? Release. Release who? Release the Epstein Files. All right. I won't do that. I won't do it anymore. I won't do it anymore. And Karen Ames says my immediate family is voting yes. My other daughter would, but she's in Washington. I think, is that about the California proposition for the gerrymandering thing? Is that what you're talking about? Aaron West is here. Hello, Aaron. Thank you for being here. As far as I know, we're at full mod capacity, but unless Jolie is in the plane now, recovering from last night's festivities. Jonathan Earl's here. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. T. Mussolini. Just says T. Mussolini. Jill Bratton's here. Hey, Jill, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Says, yippee-ki-yay, you mother. Bruce Willis, right? That's right. Die Hard. One of my favorite all-time movies. The original first Die Hard. The other ones, each sequel got successfully? Well, you know what I mean. Worse. Each one got a little bit worse, unfortunately. But I still went and watched them all anyhow. But the first one was great, I think. Barefoot Bear's here. Hey, Barefoot Bear, good to see you. Roxanne79 is here. Good to see Roxanne. Greg Giles. Is it Giles or Giles? I'm thinking Giles, right? Taco is on a gun carriage. Okay. Stephanie B2 says, ugh. I don't know what they did to me during my hip replacement surgery, but my shoulders are shredded. Like I have torn rotator cuffs. Great. Now you're going to need rotator cuff surgery. Nick Rich shares it was 9:36, so I'm about 11 minutes behind. Desperately trying to catch up. Desperately. Oh, I just saw some confetti go off. It's a good sign. Confetti cannon just went off on my screen. Nick Rich, acetaminophen or Tylenol? Acetamin. Acetaminophen. 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 Trump is such a dork. You know, it's like, okay, look, maybe it's a tough word. It's a little bit. I mean, we've all known what acetaminophen is. At least I have for 40 years or whatever. You know, I think we know what acetaminophen is. Pain reliever. It's in Tylenol or whatever. Okay, but maybe it's a little bit of a tough word, but you know, maybe if the stupid motherfucker talking about Trump would maybe have taken the time to not just go out there and wing it. This is what he does. He doesn't pre-read anything. Maybe because he was reading some shit. He had prepared shit that he was reading, and he knew he was going to be talking about acetaminophen. So you think maybe he would have just kind of practiced the word a few times before he went out there? Would that be too much to ask? To have a little preparation, Trump? Just a little prep work? It's not really asking much, just to maybe pre-read or the copy that you're going to read. Just and then some of the hard words, you know, you kind of like, and you could even go, hey, what's this word? How do you say it? Hey, Steven, how do you say this word? And you can just practice it a few times. Is that too much goddamn fucking to ask? God, I'm so sick and tired of this man's fucking incompetence. You're the president of the United States, for God's sake. Start acting like it. You incompetent fucking diaper-wearing shitbag. It's what you are. God, it was so nice having an actual fucking president for 4 years under Biden. We actually had a competent president. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And Donald Trump has the nerve, and the gall, the unmitigated gall to go out and call Joe Biden names like Sleepy Joe and all this bullshit. Fuck you. You fell asleep at your own fucking court, your trials. You were falling asleep. At your own RNC, you fell asleep. You stupid, sleepy fucking shitbag. You're a shitbag. Donald Trump, you're a shitbag. You know, ugh, just can't stand him. I can't stand him. I just can't stand him. Deborah Murphy says, Michelle, my son took one child Tylenol and the on baby, or we could not break his fever. Fever is more important to break. Yeah, it's important to, you know, and they have dosages for children. They have precautions on there, how much to take for children. Not supposed to take it if you're under 1 and all that kind of shit. This is not new shit. And Donald Trump is acting like they just invented Tylenol yesterday or something. He's like, hey, there's this new thing out. Don't use it. MJ Daniel says, no, shut this shit show down today. Not one Democratic vote for this chaos. But they won't even let them even say, hey, can we work on saving healthcare, saving the ACA, at least. They won't. So make sure when everyone's health premiums go up 1,500% or whatever the fuck, you make sure that everyone knows this is a Republican. This is done to them by the Republicans. When everyone starts losing their insurance because they can't afford these outrageous fucking premiums, make sure everyone knows this was courtesy of Donald Trump and the Republicans. Don't let anyone get away with blaming the Democrats for this. If it were up to the Democrats, I believe at this point we would be, if Democrats had the control and had the numbers and the votes and the White House, I'm pretty sure we're ready to go into Medicare for all at this point. Laney's here. Laney says 25% is a large amount of stupid. Yeah. Yeah, that's still tens of millions of people. Good morning, Karen Ames. Good morning to you. MJ Daniel says, what? The psychotic shit show talking about Tylenol or the psychotic shit show at the UN? I didn't watch the UN. I only watched a clip, like a 30-second clip, and it was about him because of complaining about the teleprompter not working. And he got a big laugh because he's like, whoever's working the teleprompter is going to be in really big trouble or whatever. And he gets a big laugh. And then that's all I've seen. That's all I saw of it. That's all I had time this morning. I barely had time to do what I did. So, but I was thinking about, wouldn't it be interesting if someone put together a clip of all the times that Donald Trump bitched and complained about Joe Biden using a teleprompter and how he's got to use a teleprompter. Oh, Sleepy Joe, he can't even make a speech without doing a teleprompter. As we know, Donald Trump uses a teleprompter, and as evidenced by the UN thing, evidence, I guess. But just more hypocrisy by Trump in that thing. Such hypocrisy. People are saying happy birthday. Yeah, for my son. Did I set the thing at only 1? I guess we made the goal today. I usually set it at 5. I guess I put it at 1 today. So hey, we made the goal. I haven't scrolled down yet to see who did it, and I will very shortly. Don't worry. I'll give you your yippee. I meant to set it at 5. I always set it at 5, but oh well. We made, at least we can say we made the goal for today. So Karen Ames says, happy birthday to your son. My birthday was yesterday. Well, happy birthday to you, Karen. Even though it's a day late, I don't think there's anything wrong with wishing you a happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. My son turns 28 today. Hard to believe he's pushing 30. The big 28. My daughter just turned 26 a couple weeks ago. So they're growing up. They got families, they're married, and the whole ball of wax. They're both of them married and doing their thing. MJ Daniel says, how much money has been cut from food programs while the GOP yells what great Christians they are? It would be really nice if we had more of a democratic socialist government where our tax money goes to raising the floor. Keep raising the floor so people don't have so far to fall. Help people get food and shelter and clothing, at least. But instead we have assholes like the Brian Kilmeades of the world, and we know what he said we should do with the homeless. And I say, Brian Kilmeade, you better be very careful what you say, because you never know. Brian, I know Brian probably makes millions of dollars or something, but you never know. Fortunes could turn for you, and what if you end up homeless out on the street someday, Brian Kilmeade? Should you take your own advice? And what did he say? Because the first thing he said was like self lethal injection or some bullshit. Deborah Murphy says Trump said not to talk to Democrats. Also, Republicans forgot the last time he had a shutdown. The help at airports, ignore them or help other people, or oops, lunchtime, you can handle your bags. Oh yeah, it affects all that shit. TSP or whatever it's called, all that shit, yeah. Nick Rich, knock knock, who's there? Epstein files. Epstein files who? Epstein files are real, that's who. But Marshall Jones says the Coalition of Autism Scientists has called it highly irresponsible and potentially dangerous to claim links between potential exposures and autism when the science is far more nuanced and uncertain. And we know all this shit. I mean, we know that what Trump did was highly irresponsible and stupid. And we know that there's probably the whole entire medical community, anyone who's not a hack, like Dr. Oz, who's a total hack. I don't even know if he's a real doctor. But anyone who's like a real legitimate doctor was probably cringing yesterday. It was probably, yelling at the TV or all that kind of shit. But the power of the pulpit, the bully pulpit, is very, very powerful. And it's going to cause probably, we're just seeing COVID-19 response type of stuff all over again. Maybe this will just be Trump killing off more maggots or something, maybe, Greg Giles, surfing like Elvis. Did you guys see my little thing I made? It was Nick Rich put the $1 super sticker. Thank you, Nick Rich. Yippee! I just now got to it, Nick. Yippee to Nick Rich. Thank you so much. I'll give you a thumbs up and a heart. We made today's goal of 1. I meant to make it 5. Because when you set a goal, it has a little list. Just so you guys know, and like if you haven't seen it, it has like a drop down menu. And I guess the first one is you can do 1, and then I think the next one is 5, and then the next one's 10. And then the next one, it has all these different things. So I usually just set it at 5. But I guess my chubby little finger must have hit 1 instead of 5. But thank you, Nick Rich. I do appreciate you. Greg Giles says Epstein escaped. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Epstein is dead or alive. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows except for Epstein himself, I guess. Maybe a few other people might know for sure, but I don't think he killed himself. I think he was murdered. If he was either murdered or somehow it was the whole there's a whole thing there of getting him out. But yeah, things definitely aren't as they have been presented to us. That's for sure. Michelle says Phoenix has a vote for 7th district. So yeah, what's going on there? Is that who currently holds it? Is it Republican or Democrat? Is it flippable? We're talking about something flippable. Let me put this down a little bit. Let's see here. I didn't get anything to put up. I didn't get any new memes to put up for today. Unfortunately. I always like to kind of fill that big blank spot there with something. I guess we'll just go to this old reliable here and release the Epstein files. Let's never forget about that. Let's not forget about that. No matter what you do, Donald Trump, no matter how many Venezuelan fishing boats you blow up, no matter how many ridiculous, fucking irresponsible, dangerous medical advice you put out, no matter just whatever stupid horse shit you're doing, we're not going to let the Epstein files go away. All right, Donald Trump, we're not going to let the Epstein files go away, as evidenced by our knock knock jokes. Hey, Michael McGadges is here. Good to see Michael. Thanks for being here. Michael says, "What does the 25 XP at the top of the chat window means?" That means that you have 25 XPs. It's just some sort of ranking thing that each person in the chat gets. The more you chat, the more points you get. That's a YouTube thing. So yeah, if you want those points, I don't know if it gets you anything other than my admiration. Right now, I think I have a thing where I can look and I can. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that because it. Maybe okay, but I thought it would let me like see who's in first or whatever. But it didn't. So yeah, it's just some sort of weird ranking thing. But YouTube does just like they say it's just like a fun thing that you guys can do or something. All right, I'm trying to get back to where I left off because when I try, there's a thing that says top fans, and I thought that would show the rankings, and all it did was make the chat go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so here we are. So Michael McGadges is here. Good to see Michael, by the way. Michael McGadges, I have a headache. I guess I'll have to drink Clorox. I know this is just more. Please do not listen to any medical advice from either Donald Trump or even Dr. Oz, and especially RFK Jr. Those are the three most unqualified fucking baboon idiot morons that you would ever want to listen or take any advice from, especially medically. DPD 5844 says, Jolie, I hope you feel better soon. Try a raw egg with tomato juice and hydrate by drinking plenty of water. I hear someone talking outside. Michelle says, Michael, please don't drink bleach. Nick Rich thinks the leaderboard thing is distracting and annoying at times. I really don't even notice it, so to me it's not distracting. Anthony Reminiak is here. Hey, Anthony, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, so thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Mr. Spock says TJ is on fire. I was on fire. Yeah, sometimes I get a little wound up, you know what I mean? Christina Babel says, I will be watching Kimmel on YouTube tomorrow. Yeah, so what's the deal? They took him back Is he on or is he not on, or what's the deal with that? Greg Giles, we have universal health care in New Zealand. They've almost every decent fucking country in the world has universal health care, but not the United States. Oh no. Not the United States of fucking being bought off by special interests. AM says that Trump is at the United Nations as we speak, further alienating our European allies with his speech. Yeah, Donald Trump is just a horrible, horrible, horrible fucking person. Victor Harshman is here. Hey, Victor, not sure if I've ever seen you before, so welcome to the Driver's Lounge. I appreciate you. Victor Harshman says, my wife and I are on the ACA. We pay $200 a month. If they take the tax credits away, we will have to pay $1,500, which we cannot afford. Just because Obama roasted him at the Correspondents' Dinner. I know. And I'm like, I think about that. I'm like, Obama, why? Why did you have to do that? Why couldn't you just, But of course, no one could have predicted Trump. I mean, for me, Trump was not even on my radar in 2015 when he announced. I think he announced he was running, right, in 2015. And then when he did announce, to me it was just a joke. I guess the joke is on me because now we've been stuck with the motherfucker twice, and this one's way worse than the first time already. Even though in the first one he killed over 1 million people through his deliberate mishandling of COVID, and I already think that this is worse because we're only 8 months into it, and everything's falling apart, man. Christina Weibel says, hello, Nick Rich. Long time no see. Rachel Maddow did an interview with Kamala Harris. I will be watching the video today on YouTube. It's an hour long. Yeah, I missed it. I did see a quick little clip. I didn't really watch the clip. I didn't have time to watch it this morning. And I didn't watch last night because last night I was watching football. My son put together a fantasy league, and so it was we just started this week, and so we were all kind of on a group text, just like texting as we were watching the game and stuff. So it was kind of fun. I know you guys hate football and shit like that, but it was fun just kind of hanging out with my son and some other people through texting. I mean, it's not the same as actually being in the same room, but still, it was fun. Yeah, Soulcraft is here. Hey, Soulcraft, good to see you. He says he sounds like he's talking about his administration when he tries to dunk on Biden. That's because it's all projection. It's all about the projection of, Trump is always projecting his own shit onto other people. Lynn says the escalator at the UN stopped when the tyrant got on and he had to use it like stairs. Now I'm beginning to wonder if all this shit is deliberate. And if it is, I'm saying, I'll say bravo. The escalator stopped working just as he was going to get on it. I think that, and then the teleprompter wasn't working. I say bravo. There are people that might be people's little sort of, I don't know if you would call it passive aggressive but little way of, without getting arrested, of kind of saying fuck you to Donald Trump. I'm all for it. Anyone who can, hey, if you're a cook, just go ahead and spit in his food. I don't give a fuck. Just start hawking loogies into his fucking food. He deserves it. I hate that motherfucker so much. Donald Trump, you are not a beloved man. Just know that. You are not beloved. Other than the 25% of morons. And so just know your base that loves you so much are all a bunch of morons. Michael McAndrews says Trumpy had plans to make healthcare coverage even better than the ACA. Cons will con. Yeah. And then you would ask him, well, how are you going to do that? He's like, well, I'm not going to say now. I can't say now. I'm not going to, I have concepts of a plan. Victor Harshman says cutting healthcare and food programs is basically slow genocide, if you think about it. Oh, absolutely. The Lucky Minute says, what happened to the rapture? I guess they are all still here. I guess none of them were actually saved. They weren't saved Christians. I wonder if you could just say, like, because every day people die. So all the people that died yesterday, you could say were raptured. And they're like, why did this Muslim guy get raptured? Why did this Buddhist guy over here get raptured? It would just blow their minds. Right? Michael McAndrews says it would be murder and treasonous to our national security to hurt USAID. Paul Sharkey Mannion from across the pond is here. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Paul Sharkey Mannion says, howdy, TJ and Trucklers. Another day of madness from Trump. He's an embarrassment to America. He's a total embarrassment, a total fucking embarrassment. I wish he would just go away. I wish he would just go the fuck away, man. Yeah, Paul Sharkey Mannion says Trumpy was able to get the Confederate flag in the Capitol. Not many presidents have achieved that. In fact, I don't think any have prior to Trump. Christina Weibel, truth over Trump. Thank you, Eric Swalwell, for that phrase. Truth over Trump. $10. Nick Rich, thanks. 10 o'clock in Vegas, so I'm 15 minutes back of you. I'm reading stuff that was posted 15 minutes ago, folks. Victor Harshman says Trump said there was no autism in Cuba. The guys from the Bulwark looked it up and found many autistic schools in Cuba. Yeah, you can't believe. It's to the point where you cannot believe one goddamn word that comes out of Trump's mouth. Not one word. Nick Rich says the facts about Epstein Gate will eventually come out 2032. At some point, they're just going to have to leak that shit, you know. Jill Branton says Dr. Biden, my hall pass because I love him, says Jeffrey did not commit suicide. I don't think you mean Biden, like Jill Biden. You're talking about that one forensic it was an Emmy or whatever. Yeah, that guy who does all those. You see him on TV all the time. That guy. I don't think it's Biden. It's like Bowden or something like that or whatever. Anyhow, Victor Harshman just in. Elon Musk's father accused of sexually abusing his children, who have turned to Tesla's CEO for help. Report says. I heard something about that. Was it on Stephanie Miller? I just heard a quick thing on that this morning. That's awful. That's awful stuff there. Catherine Real Talk says, "Hi everyone. Hi TJ. Jojo from Jers had a great podcast when Glenn Kirshner and Michael Cohen last Friday. Should watch. It will probably pop up on my feed. I get a lot of Jojo from Jers stuff in my YouTube feed. Yeah, Michael McAndrews quacks are running the our healthcare department. Totally. My God, Dr. Oz, who was I think he's been sued multiple times for stupid shit he says, and the products that he tries to sell that are junk, garbage. And RFK Jr., Mr. Wormbrain, is a total fucking quack. Is continuously repeating debunked, health stories. Sandy Foltz, TJ, you should hold off on putting in your info screen in half an hour before you come on. Why? Why, Sandy? Some people put that like they do it like 2 days ahead of time or something. Bear for Bear Love says some stations are still not going to show Jimmy Kimmel Live. Yeah, was that in my intro or did I not put that in? But maybe I didn't put that one in. But there was one of the clips I was going to put in, or I was looking at, about how Sinclair said they're not, and I guess they own 38 ABC affiliate stations. At least according to that clip, they said they were not going to carry them, and they were just going to replace it with news. And then I guess Nexstar is another one. I don't know how many stations they own. I forget, or I don't know if it was reported. But Nexstar owns a bunch of ABC affiliates, and I wasn't sure how if they had decided if they were or were not going to. Hey, there's Yakov Ishraza. I just woke up, so I'm not going to be chatting. But thanks for coming in. Thanks for saying hello. I do appreciate you. You want to lurk for a while you rub the sleepy out of your eyes, then by all means. Someone is talking out here. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but very loud and very distracting to me. Bear for Bear Love, the hoops to jump through for ACA are horrid. And, I know that ever since the ACA got passed, the Republican Party has been doing everything they can to make it as awful as they can. So I think whatever hoops are in there you can probably thank the Republicans for that. They've done everything they can to make it not work as affordably and as efficiently as it could. So I would just say that you can thank the Republicans for all those hoops. Nick Rich says that the demise of Epstein is still a puzzle, but if he's still breathing, even with a new face, nobody will ever find him. I really think that he's dead. I just don't think it was. Self-inflicted or whatever. Marsha's here. Hey, Marsha, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Always good to see Marsha in the driver's lounge. Nick Rich, maggots are morons. I for the most part, yeah, morons are just deeply disturbed. Nick Rich, what madness did Trump spew at the UN today? Yeah, I haven't heard it. I haven't watched it. I guess it might be going on right now. I got the TV off because earlier there was a kind of a glow coming from it, so I just went ahead and shut it off. Marcia says Sinclair Broadcasting is censoring free speech in Chicagoland. I'm pissed. Can only watch clips of Jimmy Kimmel live on YouTube 12 hours later. Digital antenna is all I have. Internet through Snap only. Mr. Spock says I don't care about you. I just want your vote. TJ, I believe that statement. He did say that. He did say that at his rallies. You know, a moment of clarity there, a moment of truth from Trump. Victor Harshman says somebody in the FBI leaked the home and bribe stuff. What are they going to do about that motherfucker? I mean, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, the DOJ is not going to do anything, but that's another issue that the American people should know about the criminality coming out of this fucking administration. Yeah, Bowden, that's what it was. Barefoot Bear. That forensic guy that does autopsies and shit. Karen Ames says we never hold back our feelings for Trump. He's a criminal, a pedo, a liar, a psychopath, a narcissist, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, William says Trump is supposed to speak of the UN. I guess they're saying he's already doing it. I hope he doesn't embarrass us too much. He got laughed at last time. Oh, they were already laughing at him. The clip I saw, because he was making a joke about the teleprompter, and they were laughing. Marsha says he's already spoke. Karen Ames says Trump is in the Epstein files. Absolutely. That's why they're fighting so hard to not release it. Jill Branton says, I have twin boys. One is autistic, same vax schedule, and it was obvious before he was 2. So vaccines had nothing to do with it. But were you taking Tylenol? But again, even if you were, one got it and one didn't. Catherine Real Hill Talk is there. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. Catherine says Nexstar and Sinclair are not showing. So Nexstar, yeah, I just remember seeing a quick clip, and I couldn't remember how many stations Nexstar had, and I couldn't remember if they for sure said that they seemed to be a little bit more up in the air. Like Sinclair was like, definitely we're not showing it. We're replacing it with news, But and then Nexstar, I couldn't remember if they were being wishy-washy or if they had actually said they weren't or not. But apparently, they have said they're not. Richard Archman says, "Got to go keep fighting everybody." Lynn says Sinclair owns the ABC affiliate in Seattle. So no Jimmy Kimmel for you. AM says the ACA covered my daughter until age 26. Yeah, there was some great stuff in there, and slowly over the years, Republicans have been whittling away, and making it really not that great. I mean, or not as good as it could be. Um, you know. Hey, Robert Perez from down San Diego way. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Robert Perez says, top of the morning to you, Trucker John, and a glorious day to all who want the fucking Epstein files released. Have a groovy day. Thanks, Robert. I hope your grandkids aren't driving you too crazy this morning, if they're with you or if you're with them. Michael Vagandros says, I want the victims and witnesses protected and allowed to testify openly in court and Trump be arrested. Me too. Me too, Michael. I want that also. Can you guys hear the people talking out there? It's very loud. Hey, Fancy's here. Good to see Fancy. Thanks for coming on in to the old Driver's Lounge. I appreciate you. I just watched on Facebook. I saw your video. I think you may have just posted it recently. It was about Epstein files, right? Epstein files. It's pretty good because I think it says Epstein files like about 100 times. So that's, we got to keep at him. Nick Rich says, now that John is caught up, what will the topic be to get him behind again? Did I catch up? I'm pretty close to catching up here. I have been skipping down a lot. By the way. Karen Ames says, I had 2 daughters. One has ADHD and autism and multiple autoimmune disorders. My oldest is perfectly healthy and no ADHD or autism. I took Tylenol with both. It's genetic. And, like, when I see this kind of shit, like, I'm just like, why can't you just fucking Trump? I'm talking about Trump. Like, Trump, why can't you just, do presidential shit? Why are you getting involved with Tylenol and shit? I'm so sick of Trump's horse shit. Donald Trump does not solve anything. He's kind of like the angel of death or something. I'm trying to remember like movies or something where isn't there like the angel of death and like everything they touch, like if they touch a rose it'll just die. If they touch a bush it just dies. Everything they touch just dies. That's why you don't want the angel of death touching you. That's like Donald Trump. Everything he touches, it's like the other people have said this before. Like he's like the anti-Midas or opposite of the Midas touch. Everything he does, it just turns to shit. And I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. I kind of feel bad about. I don't know if Gin Up the Bass is busy or not. I kind of feel bad. Like Gin Up the Bass feels like he can't come in here when, as far as I'm concerned, is totally welcome to come in here. Yeah, I'm only 2 minutes behind. Nick, it's 10:30, so I'm 2 minutes behind in the chat. Roxanne79 says, I have ADHD and my nephew has Asperger's. No one else in my family have these conditions. Yeah, Fancy says another. Yeah, just another distraction. You're exactly right, Fancy. He just has to keep coming out with distraction after distraction after distraction. It's anything but Epstein files. He will talk about anything and everything other than Epstein files. Yeah, the more that you're exactly right, Fancy. The more he can get us talking about his stupid bullshit about Tylenol causing autism, the less time we're spending on asking where are the goddamn Epstein files. So you're exactly right. It's just more distraction. It's all distraction. Gino Maynard says, big ups to my governor, Gavin Newsom, for signing legislation that prohibits federal and local law enforcement, including ICE agents, from wearing masks that conceal their faces while on duty. Yeah, that was a pretty huge one. Alvin Stoops, Trump is the Mothman. Marshall Jones says autism was identified in 1943. Tylenol didn't get introduced until 55. I thought I've seen it posted where autism was even earlier than that. But Roxanne says, 79 says, I hope Tylenol sues them for false information and defamation. Yeah, like I said earlier, I hope they sue him for every single time that he said don't take Tylenol. Like $1 billion for every time, which I think would be at least 25 billion, if not more. Barefoot Bear says studies are leading researchers back to genetics. They followed the science. Jill Brandt, RFK Jr. grifting his other company's supplements. DPD 5844 says Sinclair Broadcasting owns 31. I thought it was 38, but anyhow, ABC Affiliates, which is obscene. Paramount CBS also wants to buy Discovery Plus, which owns CNN and MSNBC. Whatever happened to antitrust laws? Marshall Jones says his lies are getting more ridiculous. Robert Perez says Trump is still in the process of slinging shit on the walls and nothing will stick over the Epstein story. Yep. Mr. Spock says, I'm at the I don't care phase, smoke weed and no worries. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm all for taking breaks from all this stuff so you don't get burned out, but I just hope that we don't just completely check out. We got to stay involved. Roxanne says Jim's base is at PT TJ, and I will totally tell him tell him you said that. And thanks. Yeah. Let him know. And I hope the PT goes well. Hope that's going well. Oh, there's Jim Base right there. The very next one says Jim Base says, Trucker John, thank you. I appreciate the welcome and those in chat. And Giants suck. Jim didn't say that. I said that. For those of you listening at home and not watching or not reading the chat, search for you. I'm here listening while working. Absolutely acceptable. That is acceptable. That is allowed. I will allow it. I will allow for you to lurk while you work. As long as you hit the like button and stuff like that. Like, subscribe, and share. Guys, we're climbing up. We're already over 4,060. We'll be at 4,100 before you know it. We're almost at a million views. How many of you guys have a million views on your channel? Huh? Huh? How many people can say they got a million views? Now I know, the biggies, the big channels, they've got tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of views. But I'm just curious, how many of y'all can say you got a million views? I'm almost at a million views. So, and I'm a bit proud of that, but it's because of all the people viewing. So thank you to all the viewers out there who are viewing my videos. We're over 950,000 views. I'm a little bit proud. Let's see here. The Lucky Minute says it takes 2 to make a baby, yet they only blame the mother yesterday. Was that in the Tylenol thing? I don't remember that part. But they certainly do seem to want to put all of the responsibility on the women when it comes to, um, you know, birthing and raising and a kid. Karen Ames says, my daughter, my husband, and I did genetic testing to find out where my daughter got her autoimmune disorders from. A few were from me, but I'm not symptomatic. Yeah, it's genetic, and you've got regressive genes, and you've got all this kind of shit. It ain't the fucking Tylenol. I'm telling you that much. Fancy just saying California. Maybe someone asked you where you were from, but I didn't see that. So to me, it's like funny. It's California. I love California. I was born and raised in California. I consider that my home state, and I think before all is said and done, I will probably be moving back to California at some point. Maybe, I don't know. Owen's here. Hey, Owen, good to see you. Owen says, hey, fam, I'm still working. Staining a set of steps, but I'm listening. Well, there you go. Again, I'll allow it. You may lurk while you work. Yeah. You stain those steps, Owen. You stain those steps. Mr. Spock says, what if the mask is for medical reasons? They could use that as a loophole. I don't know. I have not read the language of the bill. I do know they did put some exceptions for that, if it was for like SWAT team operations, or if they had to go into, like if there was going to be like tear gas, I guess it would be wearing, in that case, gas masks. I guess there were some exceptions put in there, but for the most part, no. No. I think no. David Wise from Denver writes in here, the orange-faced shit-gibbon, that's a new one. The orange-faced shit-gibbon today told the UN General Assembly that all your countries are going to hell. Fuck off, asshole. End quote. The end quote was going to hell. And then David Weiss is editorializing there. Fuck off, asshole. Yeah, who does that? Who goes before the UN and says all your countries are going to hell? Again, projection, because actually the one country that is actually going to hell is our country, thanks to his leadership or lack thereof, or his shitty leadership. So again, projection. We're the ones going to hell. There's a lot of other countries that are doing pretty well right now. Roxanne79 says, yep, TJ, every time he said Tylenol. Yeah, every single time he said Tylenol in that fucking press conference, or whatever you want to call it, $1 billion. Someone should replay that and and count how many times he said either, you know, like, don't take Tylenol, or he blamed Tylenol for autism. Someone should go in there and count how many times it was, and then that's how many times a billion that Tylenol should sue him. Sandy Foltz says my son Patrick has ADHD and Asperger's. Yeah, a lot of people are dealing with that, and I don't think it had. I know that Tylenol had nothing to do with it. Like we'd say, it's genetics, you know. Karen Ames says autism, ADHD have always been around, just called different things because of a lack of medical knowledge. Yeah, and that's why a lot of it, like it used to be, and just, you know, within the last 20 years or so, I mean, it used to be like 1 in 200, like Trump was saying, and now it's down to 1 in 31. Well, yeah, that has to do with detection, better ways of detection, and like you say, of isolating, uh, and not misdiagnosing or whatever. Barbara Nichols is here. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Thanks for coming on into the old driver's lounge. I do appreciate you coming on in. Barbara Nichols says, Trucker, according to him at that UN speech, just like his hat said, Taco's right about everything. Yeah, I haven't seen the speech. I'm sure it's a doozy. I'm sure it's a doozy. Robert Perez says Tylenol probably won't say anything. Shit, they'll probably get more money because of the attention. Yeah, maybe. You know, there's like a run on Tylenol. Genevieve Stolcraft says, including the most recent border war he ended between Azerbaijan and acetaminophen. Acetaminophen, but anyhow, whatever. Acetaminophen. Marsha Jones says, imagine how many mums are blaming themselves if they took the medication. Yeah, that's the most worrisome thing and bothersome thing, is that this is the president of the United States, and when you say stuff like that, you know, it's a big bullhorn there, you know. Karen James says there are more of us than MAGA. It just doesn't seem like it. Yeah, there's way more of us. You know. There's way more of us. The Soulcraft says he kills me. I think talking about Trump, he went for 10 minutes about how UN didn't use him to renovate in the 80s. We've got this babbling old, you know, demented man in the White House. Everything they accused Biden of, this is what Trump is. This rambling old, you know, dementia-filled man in the White House. And Marsha Jones says he's a cruel pig. Roxanne 79 million views. That's a big deal, TJ. Congratulations. I'm not quite there yet, but thank you. Yeah, we're about probably less than 50,000 away now from it. Catherine Real Health Talk says, so much for the rapture today. Yeah, what was it at a certain time? Maybe there's still time. It's 10:48 Pacific time. I don't know what the exact time was that they had it. Did we miss the? Maybe they're just off by a little bit. I don't know. You know. Michael McAndrews, I actually have 3 views. Now I know a lot of people don't. We're not in here for the views. Michael McAndrews says, save up some dandelion, John. Dandelions. Roxanne says, oh, I thought the rapture was planned for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Oh, so there's still time. So you still got time. If anyone has any bank accounts with money in it that you want to leave to me, or anything valuable that you don't want just lying around, I'll take it off your hands. Owen says, if you take advice from Trump on health, here's my preemptive sorry for your loss. Like I said, maybe, and I know this is probably not right of me to say this, but maybe the only ones that really listen to him are the maggots, and maybe this will shrink the maggot base. I'm pretty sure a lot of maggots got killed due to Trump's ineffective handling of COVID. I think, maybe proportionately more so than everybody else, than any other group. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass now at this point. Gina Maynard says they basically blamed autism on the discomfort of women. They might as well have blamed Eve. Fancy says, I'm waiting on my ancestry DNA results. Fancy is so curious. I need to do that. I need to do that 23andMe thing. Because I was always told that I'm half Irish, half Norwegian, but I also have French, German, English, 2 different tribes of Native American, and what else? Maybe that was it. So I've got, I guess, like 6 or 7 different, bloods in me, but I'm half Norwegian, half Irish. So that's my family's math. So yeah, I would like to do the 23andMe and just get the breakdown, get the exact breakdown. I need to do that. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then, I guess you just go on the website and you can they'll send you a little tube. I don't know if you just spit in it or whatever. I don't know. And is that accurate, you guys? Are those things pretty accurate, you think? Mr. Spock asks, would you pay money to genetically modify your baby? Would you let your baby fall behind even before birth? It's something that I never think about. I never think about it, because I had my 2 kids and I'm done, and I'm old and I'm not ever going to have kids again, right? So I guess I just don't think about it. But what if I was still in my 20s or 30s and I wanted to have kids, right now, right today, and I was, much younger? That might be something that would come up in conversation, but it's something I never really have thought about it, because it doesn't affect me, because I don't even know exactly what that's all about. I mean, I think I've heard little things like, it's unethical and immoral because some people would want their kids to be blonde haired and blue eyed, or whatever. They would want all those type of things, but I don't know if genetically modifying would guarantee or certain like health aspects. Then as far as your baby being healthier and not susceptible to ADHD or autism or whatever, I mean, then I think that might be a good thing, right? If you could genetically modify so your kid doesn't have certain diseases or illnesses or learning disabilities or anything like that, then that might be a good thing. But I've never really thought about it or looked into it because, like I said, I'm 65, almost 65, and my childbearing days are over. I'm not that I ever gave birth, but you know what I mean. My siring children is over. It's done. I'm not having kids at this age. I'm not Tony Randall, for God's sakes. Jen at the base says, thanks, Marshall. I need a hip replacement. All good, though. I'm sending healing vibes your way. You could use a shot of good fortune. Yeah, Fancy says, I hear that Iran now has bombs that can smack the East Coast. Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit yesterday. And again, on what I said, my response was that we can thank Donald Trump for this. Squarely, this lies at the feet of Donald Trump, because in his first term, he went and killed that fucking joint thing, compromise or whatever. I don't even know. You guys know what I'm talking about. I won't get fooled again. He killed the Iran nuclear thing, and so I think this could be totally blamed on Trump. 100% on Trump. Jim of the base says, Trucker John, I would also look at who sold off their Johnson & Johnson stock yesterday before the presser. Oh, yeah. Yeah, could be, yeah. Some little stock manipulation there, a little insider trading, yeah. Nick Rich says, I'd figure out how many times Dinky said Tylenol, and I don't even want $1 million. Okay, but it would be $1 billion with a B every time he said it. Gino Maynard says that Poland told Russia at the UN not to cry if they get shot down in their airspace. Poland told Russia. Oh, good on Poland. Yeah, good on Poland. AM says European leaders seemingly are turning their back on the U.S. and that's not unexpected. That's not. I mean, at this point, the way Trump has turned his back on them, I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. Donald Trump has made us a country that is not trustworthy. We are not trustworthy, and that's pretty awful because we spent decades and decades and decades gaining trust and having strong allies ever since World War II, coming out of that with some pretty strong allies with England and Europe and spreading to other regions. And it's Donald Trump has destroyed all that in 8 months. In 8 little months, he's destroyed all of that goodwill that we've built up across the world. Barefoot Bear says, Gina Maynard, I'm liking Poland. They're plucky. Well, they're the next ones right after Ukraine. that's in line. If Putin wants to knock out Ukraine, and the next one's Poland, so they're starting to stand up and say, fuck you, Putin. Marsha Jones, laugh if we all go and MAGA and Trump stay. Only kidding, it's BS. I wonder if there really was a rapture and it happened, if all the people that didn't go, if they would even know there was a rapture. It'd just be like, where did everybody go? Where did all these people go? Because not everyone's going to go. I mean, there's still going to be billions of people left on the planet. It's only the saved Christians that are being raptured. Everyone else, everyone else might say, "Good riddance." That's probably what I would say, except if it was my daughter or my son. I would be sad then. Well, or maybe happy, be like, hey, they went to heaven. It's all I kid because it is all BS. Oh no, what? Okay, never mind. Has it? Okay, it's 11 o'clock. I don't know. The rupture. Mr. Spock says I should go do an after Trucker John show. Hey, Mr. Spock, go ahead. Hal's not on today, I don't think at all, because he's doing the in LA at the whiskey. He's doing the Aussie show, so I don't think he's even doing an afternoon show today. So yeah, you could just do a after Trucker John show or something. Catherine Real Hill Talk says if the DNC as a whole weren't such pussies from Reagan presidency until 2024 elections, but for a small group of Democratic Party members, then we might not be here now. There were many problems. It's almost like we just got lucky getting Bill Clinton. Because before that, the election before that, I think they put up Dukakis. And to this day, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, fucking Dukakis? That was who we put up against Reagan? Dukakis? And then Bill Clinton really came out of nowhere. I had never heard of Bill Clinton until the primaries in 92 or whatever it was. I never heard of fucking Bill Clinton. He came out of nowhere and he just bedazzled everyone. He's like, yeah, Bill Clinton, yeah. We kind of get lucky. We got lucky with Obama, I think. Yeah, I don't think we've whatever successes we've had, I don't think it's because of great DNC strategy. we got lucky that we had this charismatic, Bill Clinton. We had a very good speaker in Barack Obama, very good, compelling. And then Joe Biden, who, when he ran, I was like, are you kidding me? This guy? When there's about 8 other people running that I would vote for above him, But I was proven wrong on that. Apparently all the old people, which I am one of them, but apparently all the old people love Joe Biden and trust Joe Biden. And I remember when Joe Biden was elected and was doing stuff. Everyone was, if you recall, everyone was comparing him to the next FDR. He's like doing FDR kind of shit. And I voted for him, but he certainly wasn't, during the primaries, when the primaries first started, he wasn't on the top of my list. I had Bernie and Elizabeth and even Kamala and Buttigieg and I don't know, some other people above him, So I feel like we kind of just lucked into these wins, these presidential wins. It's not some great DNC strategy. I think they're I think they're a bunch of fuck ups too. I think they do overlook a lot of people, a lot of voters, a lot of potential voters. So, yeah. And I'm a Democrat. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I'm saying that. Jen at the base says, Barefoot Bear, exactly. Cross-reference those trades, and my guess is you have a lot of crooks. Karen Ames says, Fancy, we did our ancestry and 23andMe DNA. It's great knowing where we actually came from. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I guess you can just go Google 23andMe and get to their website. I'm going to do that. I got to remember to do that. Jorgen Johansson. Hey, Jorgen, good to see you. Am I saying your name right? By the way, Jorgen Johansson says from Sweden, right? From Sweden, not Norway. Yeah, so 54% voting last election. Vote or shut up. If you didn't vote, you have no right to complain about anything, but you do. But I understand the sentiment. You had your chance, didn't take it. If you all votes right wing, have no chance. They always votes. But yeah, I get you. I get you, man. Voter apathy is horrible. Voter apathy is what gets Republicans into office. Voter apathy is what gets us Donald Trump. You're 100% correct. Yeah, Catherine Real Talk says DNC corporatists very selective with who they really care about, and that's what I'm talking about. They overlook a huge part of their constituency or the electorate. This thing is kind of falling over. Yeah. Nick Rich, Blunt Politics is live. I know he's. I guess Brian's on now, so I'll probably be wrapping things up here in a little bit. If anyone goes over there, just give them a little Trucker John Convoy shout out, and then we'll be wrapping up over here. John Glass says Rapture tomorrow. Has it been moved back? The Rapture this just in. The Rapture has now been rescheduled for tomorrow. Aaliyah, an American Mutt. Hey, Aaliyah, good to see you. I don't know if I've seen you before, so thanks for coming in. I do notice our people watching is a lot lower. A lot of people just jumped over to Brian, so they're like, "Fuck this Trucker John dude. Let's go watch a real show." So yeah, If you go over there, just say hi to Brian from me, or Drugger John Raid or something. Something like that. Catherine, Real Health Talk, Kamala Harris, thought bubble. I fucking told you so. Yeah, absolutely. Nick Rich, that's it. I'm subscribed to you. I think that's in reference to Fancy because I see the pink bows. Christina Weibel, my dad did the ancestry, and there's African, way back Sicilian, Italian. That's my dad's side, mom's side, French, Canadian, and Iroquois Indian. There you go. Fancy, never say never. One of my ex-girlfriends, that was her big motto, and I've always remembered that. And to this day, I almost never say never. I always try to just say, instead of never, I always try to say, like won't ever or something like that. So she had a lasting effect on me, my girlfriend. This is from, gosh, 30 years ago. Hard to believe how time flies. Hard to believe how time flies. And I still think of that whenever that expression comes up, or I'm thinking about, never say never. I flash back right to my ex-girlfriend. And we've sort of reconnected on Facebook a few years ago. I mean, we just say hi, and stuff like that. But we're both Facebook friends now. This is kind of funny. I've got a whole bunch of ex-girlfriends and wives on Facebook. I think at least a half a dozen. It's kind of funny. Let's see. I guess we should end the show here. We are at about 2 hours, almost 2 hours. So, and BB's on now. A lot of people jumped over there. Catherine Real Talk says, I'm Irish, Scots Irish, Welsh, French, English. Kind of the whole UK. You're very UK. Catherine Real Talk says it's a Celtic blood soup. Notice I didn't say Celtic. I always want to say Celtic because of the Boston Celtics. Cindy Float says, I'm going to see a doctor on Friday about a hip replacement. Wow, everyone's getting hip replacements. I guess we're all in that age group. Roxanne79 says, my dad was in his 50s when I was born. My half siblings are 20 years older than me, and we are all, 4 of us, very close, even with the age difference. Well, that's good. That's good. Barefoot Bear says, genetically modified to avoid diseases, yes, but then accidents and diseases happen, so we're never perfect. Yeah, that's true. We're never, ever perfect. Mr. Spot, I'm Vulcan and human. Yep, that's right. That's right, Mr. Spock, you're half human. I am skipping down because we are about ready to end the show, so I'm skipping way, 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 way down. Jen of the Bay says, hopefully ICE doesn't start checking our ancestry documents. Jörgen Johansson says, our neighbor Finland have a very long border with... Yeah, I think I saw that. It was like 800 miles or 1,000 miles or something, isn't it? Of course, you guys are kilometers, so you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Jill Bratton says, does anyone have good ideas for no king signs? How about release the Epstein files? Nick Rich 11, so I'm 12 minutes behind. Yeah, Boston Brian is live. No Hal today. Yeah, James Jaramillo's here. Hey, James. Good. Jaramillo. James Jaramillo's here. Yeah, no Hal today. He's doing the Ozzy tribute at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles. For Jorgen, it's 8:01 p.m. in Sweden. 8:01 p.m. in Sweden. So I guess we're only about 9 hours. We're only 9 hours difference between here and Sweden. We're about 9 hours difference. It just seemed like it would be longer than that. Yakov, Easter Vazrez says, bye, everyone. Going to Boston Brian. Like I said, if you go over there, say hi to Boston Brian for me in the chat. Jenna's base says, Trucker John doesn't give a fuck that Boston Brian. I kind of do and I kind of don't. I mean, I like Brian. I got one of his T-shirts for Christ's sake. But, you know, I'm not going to just shut down the very instant that he comes on. But I understand people, they like Brian better than me. I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. You know? Tell Boston Brian I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what that means. Oh, Mr. Spock, I can't do a show on Brian. So you can do the after Boston Brian show, Mr. Spock. Barefoot Bear, Mick Jagger is on the Epstein list. If he is, fine. Bring it out. Put it out there. Kristen Weible, I voted for Biden in 2020. So did I. I voted for him in the general election. I did. In the primary, I voted for Elizabeth Warren. Go figure. Go figure. And if she had won the primary, she would have lost. Apparently, America, even with all these Democrats, these supposedly, enlightened Democrats, or these Democrats that are for women's rights and everything. Apparently, not enough of us. We couldn't get Hillary elected, although she did win the popular vote by 3 million votes. We couldn't get Kamala elected, so I doubt we could have got Elizabeth elected. Gina Maynard says, I thought we had Jerry Brown and Teddy Kennedy in the middle 80s who were more radical reaction to moderate Jimmy Carter. Jerry Brown ran for president the same year that Clinton did, as I recall. And Jerry Brown ran a pretty good campaign. He won some primaries. He was, kind of like Bernie Sanders in a way. I remember I think I voted for Jerry Brown in the primary, in the California primary. Yeah, in fact, I'm sure I did. But Bill Clinton was just, way too charismatic, and ended up, of course, he got the nomination. Ted Kennedy had always had issues with the what's the thing where he left the girl to die or something, and I think that always, I think he couldn't get any higher than U.S. Senator. And also, I don't know if he really wanted to run. I think, when you see your two other brothers get their, well, certainly John got his head pretty much blown apart, and Robert, got shot in the head also and died. I think maybe he wasn't going to pursue a presidency, although I think he may have started a few campaigns and then, but always, stopped. Mr. Spock, 23andMe, your DNA info is sent right to China. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Catherine Real Health Talk says, when doing ancestry, the old-fashioned way is best. When impossible, family names trace back to origins, but the blood test help do when done correctly. It just seems like an easy peasy thing, and you get it all on the paper, a sheet of paper, and it has all the percentages right there. You know, Catherine, Trucker John is Trucker Don Juan. No, I'm just old, and I have had a lot of, girlfriends and ex-wife over the years. You know, I've got, I don't know, 50 years of dating and meeting people history behind me. AM says it's supposed to be the second coming of Christ, where the believers will be transported to heaven. Yeah. That's right. Search for you, I'm happy here. Catherine and Real Health Talk. When Ted Kennedy, when will the greed stop? And that, if you see that clip, that is, I think, Ted Kennedy's finest moment, and it it really hits home. When will the greed stop? It was, and it's just as important of a question to ask now as it was then. Yeah, Chappaquiddick. There you go. Out of the silent Patrick, who I haven't seen because you've been silent this whole time. So thanks for not being silent. Yeah, Chappaquiddick. Thank you, out of the silent Patrick. Thanks for being here, by the way. Thanks for watching and all that good stuff. Catherine Real Health Talk. I remember Bill Clinton playing sax on Arsenio Hall. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, but Jill Brett, I couldn't spell the bridge name. Mary Jo Kopechny, I can't spell the name. Yeah. I think that it seems like it didn't hurt him as far as being a U.S. senator, but I'm not sure if he could have gotten over that as far as like if he really was seriously running for president. DPD 5840 says now the regime wants to use our tax dollars to bail out Argentina because they are almost bankrupt, and the regime does love its dictators. And Javier, what is it, Malui, certainly embodies those characteristics. Yeah, let's do that instead of having spending our money on healthcare and Medicare, and good social programs. Let's just go ahead and bail out Argentina. They always want to say that we're broke when it comes to funding Medicaid, but we're all of a sudden we got plenty of money for these other bullshit things, Out of the silent, Patrick says, overall, I think he was a good president. I think we're talking about Clinton here, by the way. At least we can say we got a balanced budget for what it got us, given the 2000 election shit show. It got us a balanced budget, I think even a surplus. It got us lots of jobs. It got us a really good economy. Low inflation, low unemployment rates, lots of job creation, lots of stimulus to the economy. In fact, again, it's the pattern. It's the same pattern. Republicans raised our debts by huge amounts of money. Unemployment goes up, inflation goes up under Republicans. And the last two Republicans, W. Bush and Trump, damn near collapsed our economies completely. And Democrats both times came in and got recovery in Obama and Biden. Biden. I always call Biden Biden. Obama. I meant Obama. I was no Biden. That's kind of funny. Biden. Obama, took over when we were on the brink of entering a Great Depression. And so what he was able to do with all that Republican obstructionism, I think is pretty remarkable. And then Joe Biden comes in after Trump ran us into the ground with mishandling COVID, and Biden really inheriting a horrible economy, and within a couple of years righting the ship, getting us to be the envy of the world with our economy. So that's the pattern that's been going on for 40, 45 years now, with Republicans fucking everything up and Democrats cleaning it up, turning it around and cleaning it up. And the American people got to stop doing this. Let's make up our minds. Either we're going to be a shithole country under Trump and Republicans and just be really not a free country, not a constitutional country, not a country that has the Bill of Rights. We're just not going to do that. We're going to be just led by a dictator, by dictators, by these Republican oligarchs and these shitholes. Or we're going to actually have a fucking democratic republic where we have great economies, and we have good social programs, and we have a good constitution to guarantee our freedoms and our rights. We got to stop with this going back and forth. I feel like we're just schizophrenic, and I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it, man. Yeah, Catherine Real Tell Talk says Republicans ruin our country, Democrats try to save it. Mr. Spock says, I was hoping for a black pope. Now, what am I going to do with all these black pope on a rope soap? It's going to sell on Etsy. Out of the silent Patrick Chuckerjohn, exactly. Oh, Biden works too. Yeah, it does work. Barefoot Bear says Clinton almost nailed bin Laden, but no one believed him, I think. I believe we had bin Laden at Tora Bora, right? Wasn't that the Tora Bora thing? And then for some reason, they didn't take the shot. I mean, I think they could have taken him out way before 9/11. And I forget what the deal was on that, or why they didn't do it. Something happened. Something came up. Out of the Silent Patrick says, yet my whole adult life gets frustrating. Wish most folks would just pay attention to the facts. Then we'd see some real progress. I was proud to vote against Reagan back in 84, my first vote. My first vote was 1980, and I voted proudly for Jimmy Carter. And I guess in 1980, I wasn't really listening to the polling. I don't know what the polling was. I thought Jimmy Carter was going to win. I didn't know, because I didn't like Ronald Reagan at all. I mean, he was I was born and raised in California. He was a former governor. And I remember he had tried to run before, I think in the previous election, and he dropped out. And I just thought, this guy's a joke. He's a clown. And when he was running again in 80, I was like, this guy's a joke. He's not going to be president, you know. And so on election day, I was working that day. I remember, I was able to go vote, and then I was working because in those days I had to go to my. There was no mail. I didn't do mail-in. This is back in 1980, so I had to go to the polling place, and I remember I was working at this. It was a Xerox company that sold Xerox machines and also paper and ink and all that shit. And I would deliver paper and ink to all these businesses and stuff. But I remember on that day I was in the actual store, like stocking shelves, which was something I never really normally did. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because it was election day, there was no deliveries. Maybe that was what the deal was. Or something. But I just remember being in the in the actual little showroom they had, where people could come in and buy supplies and paper supplies and office supplies, and they had the TV playing and with the election results coming in. This is like kind of in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, and you know how they show the maps and even in 1980, they had some graphics and stuff, and they were showing all the results coming in, and it was looking like a landslide for Reagan, and people were just jumping up and down with joy, and they were ecstatic, and they were like, it's very reminiscent of of these maggots nowadays, and they were like, just like, oh, Reagan, ooh. They were like jumping up and down. I just couldn't believe it, so I remember I don't remember really saying anything. I think I was shaking my head, like, you know how you do. You just like shake your head, and I was not happy, but I don't remember. I just remember kind of keeping my head down and minding my own business, you know. But it was like within the next day or two, I got fired from that job, and they wouldn't tell me why. They just said it wasn't working out, and I had been working there for months and months and months, and I was the delivery boy, and I hadn't had any complaints. I hadn't been late on deliveries. I had no issues whatsoever. But after that election, I guess just because I wasn't one of the people jumping up and down for joy about Reagan winning, I got fired. And no one will ever convince me that it wasn't because of my dissatisfaction of Reagan winning. So me and my friend, Jeff Shipley, one of my best buddies, after I got fired, we drove over to their, because they had a couple, like company vans, the vans that I would do, do deliveries. They had like 2 or 3 of these vans and car parked in the back. And I remember we went and we just pissed all over the vans and all over the windshield, and we just pissed on it. That was my way of getting back at them. I think we drank a bunch of beer and we went over there and just pissed all over their cars, man. All over the door handles and everything. We're like, fuck this fucking place. And we didn't even care. I didn't even care. I don't think they had cameras back in those days. I mean, I know that there were surveillance cameras probably in 1980, but not everyone had them. And the ones that did were probably shitty. But I didn't even give a fuck. I was like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Let's go piss on these guys. I don't know how we came up with that because at least we didn't we didn't break anything. I didn't smash any windows or anything like that. We just pissed all over the windshield and the door handles and shit. So now I've admitted to this crime. I'm hoping statute of limitations are up on it though, because that's been 45 years ago now, right? Out of Silent Patrick says, yeah, Bin Laden slipped away at Tora Bora. I think I recall something about Bush. People letting him go, not sure. So was it Bush or Clinton? Barefoot Bear says no Clinton. Catherine Real Health Talk says I was 4 when Reagan presidency started. So you're off the hook, Catherine. We can't blame you. Barefoot Bear says Clinton missed by 45 minutes in 97. So they missed bin Laden by 45 minutes, apparently. I don't know. Out of the Silent Patrick, I loved Carter. He was the only president to come to my tiny hometown in Ohio on his whistle stop tour when I was like 10 or 11. I was probably 30 feet from him during the speech. Great guy. Wow, that's pretty awesome. That's a great memory. That was a great memory. Barefoot Bear, Clinton's strike was during the Monica scandal. Jill Bratton says if Jesus was real, he was born with brown skin. Yep. Catherine Real Talk says TJ damn right, it was politics, those bastards. Mr. Bob Newell's here. Hey, Mr. Bob Newell says that Nancy Reagan is a real hottie. Yeah, she was. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Mad Mac, Slava Ukrainian Mad Mac, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I have a feeling Mad Mac has got 2 devices running, and he's got Boston Brian on one of them and me on the other one, so I appreciate that. I know we're down to only 24 people watching. I think everyone went over to Boston Brian. I guess they like no, whatever. I should not make it a comment. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Catherine Real Hot Talk says I peed on somebody's campfire wood once because he tried to attack me the night before. Wow, that got dark. That got dark real quick. Mr. Bob Newell, are you okay with the level of graft? Because it's getting worse. I'm not okay with the level of graft. Catherine, that's as far as I'm going. Mr. Bob Newell, Jesus is my weed delivery driver. Does he go by Jesus or Jesus? All right, guys. I guess we'll end the show. Everyone's left. Just my most devoted are here now. I'm not even sure if Aaron is still here at this point. But thanks for being here, guys. So what day? Today's Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll see you then. Mr. Spock says she was known in Hollywood as Just Say Yes Nancy because she liked giving BJs. Hey, man, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. You know? I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. You know? Bless her little soul. Bless her little heart. Hey, we're all sexual beings. Even the Reagans like to get down and get funky. Even the Reagans. Out of Silent Patrick says, speaking of weed, I have to run to the store for a pickup, but at least we have some progress. Great show, John Peace. Thank you, out of the Silent Patrick. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. Make sure you do hit that like, subscribe, and share. If you haven't subbed, make sure you sub. Let's get those subscriptions up. We also have the memberships that start as low as $1.99 a month, which is a really great deal, I think. DPD5844, TJ, never compare yourself to others. You are unique in your own right. Well, thank you, DPD. I appreciate you. Barefoot Bear, same things. All right, guys, I got to stop reading the thing or else I'll never get out of here. But all right, guys, you guys are awesome. Again, we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, right here on this very, very same channel, and we can start up where we left off. We can talk about whatever you guys want to, but we'll be right here at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So whatever time zone you're in, you have to make your adjustment. All right. We do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 11 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. For those that are maybe new. All right, guys. So thank you so much. All that's left is what we do at the end of the show. We do the words of wisdom. I always give you a little bit of chance to get a paper and pen in case you want to write it down. All right, so you guys ready? Okay, so today's words of wisdom are as follows. Okay, guys, so just
well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream, this is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in, but don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for us. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye.